Hi, hello, I'm Lily, and today we are finally going to use this canvas. So for a little background real quick while I'm cleaning this off and painting the edges, this canvas is a 24 by 12 inch, I believe. It's a pretty weird size. I probably wouldn't choose to work with this sized canvas again, but the reason why I chose this is because me and this canvas, we have a history. So about 4 years ago, I believe, my mom bought this canvas and she was gonna do some craft project or whatever, I don't know, and she never did it. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this canvas because it's interesting. It's a weird shape, or it had weird dimensions. So I ended up painting one of those nude models that you get on those reference sites, and I just drew out the torso and used acrylic paint over it, and it was pretty simple, but it was fine. And then I think 2 years passed and I was like, I hate this. I actually want to try to use this canvas for a better painting. So I tried, and this time I used oil paint, and I'm not that good at oil painting. So I did the whole first layer in acrylic, and the colors I had at the time were really bad. They didn't mix well. It wasn't good colors. But then I went into the oil painting with the oils, and I got into it and I hated it. So I abandoned the painting. And then it just sat that way. It sat that way for a year and a half. And it's kind of been haunting me. So I finally decided hey, I have these oil pastels. I'm really liking oil pastels right now. So I might as well try to give this canvas one last shot. Because at least part of it is covered in oil paint, I can't go back over with acrylic because it would just chip. And I didn't want to use oil paint again. So I was like, oil pastels have to be it. This has to be the final thing I put on this canvas, and it has to be good because I don't want to use this canvas anymore. So that's what I did. And coming up with a concept for this canvas was kind of tricky because at first I was like, I don't really have any ideas, anything I want to shoot for. I just want to make a nice drawing. So I came up first with this idea, and it was pretty good. I liked it enough. I think there was a problem with the colors I chose at first, because I was trying to go for more of a realistic color palette, and I really didn't like it. It looked really bad, especially compared to the painting that I'm doing right next to it, which is just very saturated oranges and yellows and reds, which I find more appealing and fun to do. But yeah, that first mini painting I did as a test was not it. Also, I didn't really plan out how it was gonna fit on the canvas that I was gonna use. So it just didn't work out. So after that, I went through 6 more concepts until I finally decided on the one you're seeing right now that I'm working on. And I really liked it. I was having a lot of trouble at the time coming up with ideas, and I was kind of going through it also. I was, not to get into specifics, but I was having kind of a, I don't know, gender crisis. Crisis sounds like too much of a severe term, but it's what I'm using because I don't know how else to describe it. But I was having a little crisis, and this idea kind of came out of that, which worked for me, and I really like it. So this kind of painting started from like a nothing, like just let me do a pretty picture, I guess, and then it ended up being a let me paint about my gender struggles again. But I like it. I think it's good. So I do not know why I did this, but I decided, hey, after doing this like small like practice painting thing, I don't need to like print out a transfer. I don't need to print out a transfer to put the sketch on the canvas. I can just draw it straight on. I don't ever do this. I don't ever just draw my sketch on my like final surface. I always use a transfer. So I don't know why I thought it would work out for me this time. And I probably drew this sketch like 5 times at least. And you're not gonna end up seeing me draw the final sketch on camera because I did turn off the camera at one point because I was struggling. I did turn off the camera at one point and I was like, let me just do this sketch without being filmed because it was getting in the way. But what you'll see is that I end up like smudging the sketch while I'm drawing it. Like I'm smudging it a lot because I'm like, I didn't like how the lines were looking. I didn't like the placement. So I would just smudge the lines away as if I was like erasing it and then just draw back over it. And at one point it was the orange was like covering up the canvas. So I did end up having to like wipe it away with like a paper towel because I had to get a lot of this oil pastel just off the canvas because it wasn't working. It was getting too messy. But eventually I did draw a sketch on here that I liked. It ended up being a little bigger than I originally wanted, but that was fine. Like at that point I was like, okay, we'll live with it. So what you're seeing me do now is like I'm going in with the pastels and I'm going in very lightly for 2 reasons. One, I'm scared at this point. I want this to turn out good. So I'm going in very lightly and I'm just blocking in colors and kind of where the highlights are going to be. The other reason that I'm just going in very light is because I'm gonna be putting a lot of the pastel on this canvas and I want to like layer the colors and like make them blend nicely together, and that is really hard to do, at least for me. If you're going in very thickly at first, I feel like I've seen quite a few other artists on YouTube who go in very thick with their oil pastels like from the get-go, and I'm like, how do you do that? Because that sounds like a terrible way of working for me. I would get so frustrated. And there is a point nearing the end of this painting where the whole canvas was covered at that point with oil pastels and I was getting frustrated, but I can talk about that later. Right now we are just covering the canvas in these early stages, and we're working from bottom to top, and we're just hoping that it looks good, because at this point I was like, I don't know if this is gonna look good or not. Okay, this is where I have to admit that unfortunately, somehow, I don't know how, but I deleted like half of the footage for this painting. Everything you saw up to like this point was like about half of the painting done in like one sitting, and then I took probably another sitting to finish this like upper half of the painting of like this torso head part. And that makes me really sad, because I really don't know how it happened. I thought I was being more organized, and then I must have deleted the video when I was trying to make space on my phone. And I considered for like a hot second, maybe I don't make this painting into a video. But like I didn't want to start from scratch on like a new painting and a new video, because I'd edited like half of this video already. So I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna finish it with what we have. And unfortunately, at this point in the painting process, I was really getting tired of trying to figure out like new angles and interesting ways to film that I didn't film a lot. So what you're seeing right now is just the little bit that I did film. And it's not too interesting, but it is what I have, and it's just the last finishing stages. So what you're seeing also is like the part that I was talking about earlier, where I was getting like frustrated. Like I had already like finished the background, but I was like trying to clean it up, and this like white gray line all around the figure was kind of annoying me, because it was smudging into the background like red colors, which I wanted, but I also wanted to clean it up a bit. Was not getting clean, so I just had to like deal with it, and it's fine. It looks fine now. I actually like it, but yeah, this whole thing was a struggle. And this is the final painting all done. I had a lot of fun with this. I was scared at first that the pastel wasn't going to take to the texture of the canvas, but it actually worked out really nicely, and I really like how it turned out. So thanks for joining me and coming along on this journey with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Anyway, thanks for watching, and bye.